Michelle, let me tell you about the absolute worst job interview of my life. I walked into the manager's office, sat down, and my hands were shaking so much that I dropped my printed resume. All 5 pages of it just flying all over the floor.
Oh no, Jack, please don't tell me you had to crawl under the desk to get them.
It gets worse. I bent down to pick them up, hit my head on the glass table, and when I finally came back up, my face was completely red. The manager just stared at me and asked, "So, Jack, tell me about yourself."
That is a nightmare. What did you say?
My brain completely shut down. I panicked. I literally told him where I was born, that I have 2 cats, and what my favorite food was. I think I talked about pizza for 2 minutes.
Pizza? In a corporate job interview? That is a classic panic response. Your brain went into emergency survival mode. It forgot all your professional skills and just grabbed the easiest vocabulary it could find.
It really did. I felt like a suspect in a police station, not a professional looking for a job. I was sweating, and my English, which is usually pretty good, completely disappeared. I sounded like I had been learning English for 3 days.
I completely understand that feeling. In my very first interview in English, I was so nervous that when they asked me why I wanted to work there, I forgot the name of their company.
You forgot the company name while sitting inside their building?
Yes, I just kept saying, I really love this building. And the logo is great. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me. But honestly, if that feeling of terrible interview panic sounds familiar to our listeners, they are in exactly the right place today.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. How are you today? Today I am here with Michelle, and today we are going to talk about secrets to passing your job interview in English.
Hello, everyone. I am very happy to be here today. Let's start our conversation.
So, Michelle, let's start with that terrible feeling we both experienced. Why do job interviews in a second language feel like a life or death situation? Why do we start sweating before we even enter the room?
It all comes down to the power dynamic. When you walk into an interview, especially in a foreign language, you naturally put the interviewer on a pedestal. You see them as a king or a judge, and you see yourself as a beggar asking for a favor.
Asking for a favor. That is exactly how it feels. You feel like you're begging them to give you a chance, so you feel incredibly small.
Precisely. And when you feel small, your body reacts with anxiety. Your heart rate goes up, your breathing gets shallow, and because of that lack of oxygen to your brain, you actually lose access to your advanced English vocabulary.
That explains why I talked about cats and pizza. My brain literally didn't have the oxygen to remember the word project management.
Exactly. Most people view an interview as an interrogation, like in a detective movie where they shine a bright light in your face, and if you make one grammar mistake, you go to interview jail.
So how do we fix that power dynamic? How do I stop feeling like a suspect?
You have to completely change your mindset before you even open the door. An interview is not an interrogation. It is a business meeting between two equals.
A business meeting between two equals. That sounds great in theory, Michelle, but they have the job and the money, and I need the job and the money. How are we equals?
Because they have a massive problem, Jack. Companies don't hire people for fun. They hire people because they are in pain. Maybe they are losing customers. Maybe their database is a mess. Maybe their team is overworked and exhausted.
Ah, I see. So they are looking for a painkiller.
Yes, they want you to be the solution. Think about the hiring manager. They have probably interviewed 10 people this week. They are tired. They want to go home. If you walk in with a calm, helpful energy, they'll be so relieved. They are secretly praying that you are the right person.
That completely flips the script. They are not waiting for me to fail. They are secretly cheering for me to succeed.
Exactly. You're not a student taking a speaking exam. You are a professional offering a service. If you approach it as a collaboration, how can we solve your company's problems together? Your English will naturally flow better because the pressure is off your ego.
Okay, so my mindset is fixed. I am the solution, not a beggar. Now let's talk about the physical reality of the interview room, because even with a good mindset, the environment can be intimidating.
Very true. Let's talk about the waiting room. That is where the panic usually starts. You're sitting on a weirdly uncomfortable sofa, staring at a magazine from 3 years ago, just waiting for your name to be called.
The waiting room is pure torture. My hands get sweaty and I start repeating English words in my head like a crazy person. Synergy, optimization, revenue. Hello, my name is Jack.
We all do that. But rehearsing words in the waiting room actually increases your stress. Instead of doing that, you should be doing power breathing.
Power breathing? Like yoga? I can't do yoga in a corporate lobby, Michelle.
You don't need a yoga mat. Just inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Doing this sends a physical signal to your nervous system that you are safe.
Okay, breathe in, hold, breathe out. That lowers the heart rate. What about body language? I feel like my body betrays me before I even speak.
Body language is huge. When we're nervous, we try to make ourselves physically smaller. We cross our arms, we look down, we round our shoulders.
I definitely do that. I try to hide inside my own suit.
But if you do that, your voice gets quieter and your English sounds less confident. Before you walk into that room, roll your shoulders back. Take up space. When you walk in, make direct eye contact with the interviewer.
Eye contact is tough for a lot of English learners. Sometimes in our native cultures, staring directly into the boss's eyes is considered rude.
That is a brilliant point, Jack. Cultural differences in interviews are huge. But in the United States, the UK, or Canada, strong eye contact shows honesty and confidence. If you look at the floor, they might think you are hiding something or that you lack confidence in your skills.
So, shoulders back, deep breaths, strong eye contact. Okay, I'm in the chair, the interview begins, and then they drop the bomb. The first question.
Ah, the famous, "So, tell me about yourself."
It sounds like such a simple, friendly question, but it feels like a trap. Why do people fail this question so often?
Because it is too broad. It has no boundaries. When someone says, "Tell me about yourself," English learners usually make one of two massive mistakes.
Let me guess. Mistake number one is what I did, treating it like a blind date and talking about your hobbies and your cats.
Yes, telling them your life story, where you grew up, how many brothers you have, and your favorite pizza topping. It's sweet, but it's completely irrelevant to the business.
And what is the second massive mistake?
The second mistake is that people just recite their resume word for word, like a robot.
Recite. That means to read it aloud from memory, right?
Yes, they start reading their mental timeline. In 2015, I graduated. In 2016, I worked at this company. In 2018, I moved to this department.
That sounds incredibly boring. It sounds like reading a Wikipedia page about someone you don't care about.
Exactly. And remember, the interviewer already has your resume printed right in front of them. They don't need you to give them an audio version of a document they already read.
So, what do they actually want to know when they ask, "Tell me about yourself"?
They are secretly asking, what is your professional story and why does it make you the perfect person for this specific job right now?
That is a very different question. So, what is the secret formula to answer it? How do I structure my answers so I don't ramble?
You use the present, past, future formula. It is the gold standard for this question.
Okay, the present, past, future formula. I like the sound of that. It gives me a map. How exactly does it work?
It works by keeping your story organized and moving forward. You start with the present. What is your current role and what is your biggest responsibility right now?
So I wouldn't say, "I am a manager." I would say something more detailed like, "Currently, I am a project manager at TechCorp, where I lead a team of 5 developers."
Perfect. That establishes your current value. Next, you move to the past. How did you get the experience that prepared you for the job you are interviewing for today?
Ah, so I don't list every job I ever had. I only mention the past experience that is relevant to them.
Exactly. You're connecting the dots for them. You might say, before this, I spent 5 years in digital marketing, which taught me how to analyze consumer data.
I see. And then the final step is the future. How do I do that without sounding desperate?
You connect your future to their future. Why are you excited to be sitting in their office today? What do you want to build with them?
Let me try to put it all together. And now I'm looking to bring my leadership and data analysis skills to an innovative, fast-growing team like yours.
Jack, that was flawless. It was short, it was professional, and it told a complete story under 60 seconds. No pizza, no cats, no boring Wikipedia timeline.
It feels so much safer. Having a mental map prevents me from rambling.
Rambling is the enemy of a good interview. It means talking too much, going off topic, and confusing the listener. When we're nervous, we tend to ramble because we're afraid of silence.
That is so true. Silence in an interview feels terrifying. If I finish my answer and the interviewer doesn't say anything immediately, I panic and start talking again just to fill the dead air.
That is a classic mistake. But silence is actually a sign of confidence. When you finish your present, past, future answer, just stop. Smile, maintain eye contact, and let them absorb what you just said.
Let them ask the next question. Okay, I can do that. But Michelle, what about the trick questions, the ones that are designed to make you look bad?
Which one scares you the most?
The absolute worst one in the history of interviews. What is your biggest weakness? I sweat just thinking about it.
The weakness trap. This is where everyone suddenly tries to sound like a superhero in disguise.
Right. I always say, my biggest weakness is that I'm a perfectionist, or I just care too much about my work.
Jack, promise me you will never ever say that again.
Really? Why? I thought that sounded good. It shows I'm a dedicated employee.
It sounds incredibly fake. Every hiring manager in the world has heard, "I'm a perfectionist," 1,000 times. It's a massive cliché.
A cliché, so it's boring, overused, and unoriginal.
Worse than boring, it shows a lack of self-awareness. It shows the interviewer that you either are hiding your real flaws or you don't actually know what your flaws are.
A red flag, a warning sign. Okay, so no fake perfectionism, but I shouldn't be brutally honest either, right? I shouldn't say, my biggest weakness is that I hate waking up early and I argue with my boss.
Definitely do not say that. You don't want to talk yourself out of the job. You need the middle path.
What is the middle path between lying and destroying my own career?
The middle path is the honesty plus action formula.
Honesty plus action. Okay, how do I build that?
First, you pick a real, believable weakness, but, and this is crucial, you pick a weakness that is not critical to the core function of the job.
Give me an example. If I'm applying for an accounting job, I shouldn't say my weakness is math.
Exactly. That would be a disaster. But if you are applying for a graphic design job, you could say, "I sometimes struggle with public speaking and presenting my work to large groups."
Because a designer doesn't need to be a public speaker every day. It's an honest flaw, but it won't ruin the company.
Precisely. But you can't just drop the weakness on the table and leave it there. You have to spend 80% of your answer explaining the action, how you are actively fixing it.
So the focus isn't on the weakness itself, the focus is on my ability to grow and solve my own problems.
Yes, employers love growth. Let me give you another example. You could say, "Because I like to control the quality of a project, I sometimes struggle with delegating tasks to my team."
Delegating, giving tasks to other people, that is a very common managerial weakness.
Then you add the action. "However, in my last project, I started using a new project management software to assign tasks clearly. It helped me trust my team more, and we actually finished the project a week early."
Wow, that is brilliant. You admitted a real human flaw, but you proved that you were proactive and self-aware. You turned a negative into a story of improvement.
Exactly. You showed them that when you face a problem, you don't hide from it, you fix it.
Now, Michelle, this leads to a very specific question for our listeners. What if my English is my weakness? Should I admit that?
That is a fascinating question, and it is a huge debate.
Many English learners want to start the interview by apologizing. I always want to do that. I want to walk in, shake their hand, and immediately say, "I am so sorry, my English is not very good." I feel like it lowers their expectations so I don't disappoint them.
Do not do that. Never apologize for your English at the beginning of an interview, Jack.
But why? I want them to know why I might speak slowly or use the wrong preposition.
Because if you apologize for it immediately, you are drawing a big red circle on a negative. You are literally telling the interviewer, please judge me for my language skills. It destroys your authority before the interview even starts.
That makes a lot of sense. If I act like my English is a terrible problem, they will start believing it is a terrible problem.
Exactly. You are bilingual. You are operating in a second language in a high-stress corporate environment. That is a superpower, not a weakness.
But what happens when I don't understand a question? Or when my brain freezes because of the stress? I can't just stare at them like a statue.
No, you shouldn't stare at them, but you also shouldn't say, sorry, my English is bad. Instead, you use a professional stalling tactic. You buy yourself some time to translate and think.
How do I do that without looking confused?
You compliment the question. You say, that is a really great question. Let me take a second to organize my thoughts.
Let me take a second to organize my thoughts. Oh, that sounds incredibly professional.
It sounds like you are a deep, strategic thinker. It doesn't sound like a struggling language student at all.
It gives me the same amount of time to think, but it elevates my status instead of lowering it. I love that.
You can also ask them to rephrase it, but don't say, what, or I don't understand. Say, could you clarify what you mean by that specific term?
Could you clarify? That word clarify is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It shifts the responsibility smoothly. It implies the question was complex, not that my English is weak.
Precisely. You control the narrative of the conversation.
Michelle, these tools are amazing. I feel like I'm building a suit of armor for my next interview.
We still have the most important tool to build, Jack. We haven't talked about the behavioral questions yet. The ones that start with, tell me about a time when...
Oh, those are the absolute worst. But before we get into the heavy strategy for those, let's take a quick breath and check in with our community.
Yes, we want to hear from our listeners who are navigating the global job market right now.
Have you ever had a terrible, awkward, or funny job interview in English? Did your mind go blank like mine did? Did you drop your resume on the floor?
Or did you forget the name of the company like I did? Please share your story in the comments. We've all had embarrassing moments, and sharing them makes them less scary for everyone else.
And tell us, what is the single interview question that scares you the most? Is it the weakness question or something else entirely?
Write it down in the comments, and maybe we will tackle it in a future episode.
And as always, if this conversation is helping you build confidence for your career and improving your English, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow.
Welcome back, everyone. Jack, we've covered the tell me about yourself trap and the weakness trap. Are you ready to face the final boss of job interviews?
The final boss? That sounds terrifying. What is it?
Behavioral questions. These are the long, tricky questions that usually start with the phrase, tell me about a time when...
Oh, I absolutely hate those. Tell me about a time you had a conflict with a coworker, or tell me about a time you failed. My brain instantly deletes every memory I have ever had.
The sudden amnesia.
It's true. I sit there thinking, have I ever met a coworker? Have I ever worked a day in my life? Who am I? And the silence in the room just gets louder and louder.
That is a very standard physiological reaction. Your brain freezes because the interviewer is asking you to search a massive, unorganized database of memories without giving you a specific filter.
Exactly. And if I do eventually remember a story, the opposite problem happens. I start rambling.
Rambling? You start giving way too many unnecessary details.
Yes, I talk about the coworker's personality, what the weather was like that day, what we ate for lunch before the argument, and 5 minutes later, I haven't even answered the question.
Which brings us to the ultimate industry-standard tool for answering behavioral questions, the STAR method.
The STAR method, S-T-A-R. I have heard of this, but I never know how to use it properly in English. What does it stand for?
It is an acronym. It stands for situation, task, action, and result.
Situation, task, action, result. Okay, break that down for me, Michelle. How do I actually build a story with this?
Let's use your fear as an example. Let's pretend the interviewer asks, tell me about a time you disagreed with a colleague. First, you establish the situation. You set the scene in just 1 or 2 clear sentences.
Keep it short. So, I shouldn't give the whole backstory of the company. I would just say, last year, my colleague and I strongly disagreed on the marketing budget for a new product launch.
Perfect. Clear context. Next is the task. What was your specific goal or challenge in that situation?
We needed to submit the final agreed-upon budget to the regional director by Friday afternoon.
Excellent. You established the time pressure. Now we reach the most important part of the entire answer, the action.
What we did to solve it?
No, what you did. This is a massive mistake people make. They say we scheduled a meeting or we compromised. The interviewer isn't hiring your team. They are hiring you. You must use the word I. What did you specifically do to solve the conflict?
I see. I have to take ownership. So I would say, I scheduled a one-on-one meeting with my colleague, I listened actively to his concerns about overspending, and then I presented my data showing why my approach would actually save us money in the long run.
Brilliant, Jack. You showed leadership, emotional intelligence, and data-driven thinking all in one breath. Finally, the result. How did the story end? And spoiler alert, always try to end on a positive, measurable note.
As a result, we combined our ideas to create a hybrid budget, submitted it on time, and the campaign was ultimately a huge financial success.
Jack, if you answer a behavioral question like that in a real interview, they are going to offer you the job before you even leave the building.
It feels so organized. The STAR method is like a train track. It keeps my story moving forward in a straight line so it doesn't crash into the mountains of rambling.
Situation, task, action, result. It is your best friend. My advice to all learners is to prepare 3 different STAR stories before the interview. Write them down, practice them out loud, and you will be bulletproof.
Bulletproof. I love that feeling. Now, Michelle, let's fast forward to the end of the interview. There is a moment at the very end that always feels incredibly awkward for me.
Let me guess. It's when the manager closes their notebook, looks at you, and says, "Well, do you have any questions for us?"
Yes, I never know what to say. Usually my brain is so exhausted from speaking English for an hour that I just want to escape. So I smile and say, "No, everything was very clear. Thank you so much."
Jack, that is a massive, massive missed opportunity. If you say you have no questions, you look passive. You look like you don't actually care about the company or your future there.
But if I ask questions, what do I ask? If I ask about the salary, the bonuses, or how many vacation days I get, I look greedy, right?
Yes, absolutely. Save the salary negotiation and the vacation questions for when they actually offer you the job in writing. At this interview stage, you want to ask questions that show you are already thinking like a valuable team member.
Okay, give me some examples. What is a power question I can ask the hiring manager to impress them?
A really great one is, what does a typical day look like in this role?
What does a typical day look like in this role? That's good. It shows I want to understand the reality of the daily grind, not just the fancy job title.
Exactly. Another fantastic high-level question is, what is the biggest challenge the team is currently facing?
Oh, I really like that one. It positions me as a problem solver, because if they tell me their biggest challenge, I can briefly explain how my skills would help them fix it.
Precisely. It turns the end of the interview from a Q&A session back into a strategic collaboration.
What about asking about the company culture? Is it okay to ask personal questions about the workplace?
It is highly recommended. You can ask the interviewer, how would you describe the company culture here? What is your favorite part about working for this company?
That shows I care about the work environment and the people, not just the paycheck.
And it does something very powerful psychologically. It gives the interviewer a chance to talk about themselves. People inherently love talking about their own experiences. If you get the manager talking about why they love their job, they will associate those positive feelings with you. They will remember you as a great conversationalist.
Even if I didn't actually say much, that is a brilliant psychological trick.
It really is. You leave them with a warm, positive impression right as you walk out the door.
Michelle, I feel like we have covered so much ground today. We fixed the mindset, we navigated the traps, we built formulas, and we learned how to close like a boss. I think it is time to upgrade our listeners' vocabulary so they have the words to match these strategies.
Yes, it is time for today's word tour.
Let's slow down the pace and look closely at 6 powerful B2 level words we used today. These are the words that will separate you from the average English learner.
These words will help you sound confident, precise, and completely natural in any corporate environment. Let's start with our first word, which was the core of our mindset shift, interrogation.
Interrogation. interrogation. It means a situation where someone is asked a lot of aggressive or intense questions, usually by the police or military.
Say it slowly with us. Interrogation.
Interrogation.
We said earlier that an interview should be a business meeting, not an interrogation.
A basic sentence would be, "They asked me too many hard questions."
But a master real English sentence is, the manager was so aggressive, the interview felt more like an interrogation than a friendly conversation.
That paints a very clear, intense picture. Let's make it a mini conversation.
How was your meeting with the new client, Jack?
It was exhausting, honestly. They didn't want to collaborate. It felt like a police interrogation.
Perfect context. So instead of saying they questioned me aggressively, elevate your vocabulary and use interrogation.
Our second word is a very useful verb, recite.
Recite. R-E-C-I-T-E. It means to repeat something aloud from memory, like a poem or a list of facts, usually without much natural emotion.
Say it slowly with us. Recite.
Recite.
We said that you should never just recite your resume during the tell me about yourself question.
A simple way to say this is, he read the words from memory.
But a professional B2 way is, the candidate didn't explain his passion. He just recited a list of facts from his paper.
Let's do a mini conversation to see it in action.
Did the new guy answer the interview question well?
Not really. He sounded like a robot reciting a script. It didn't sound authentic at all.
Exactly. If you memorize your English answers too perfectly, you might sound like you are reciting them, which kills the human connection. Our third word is a must-know for job interviews. Rambling.
Rambling. R-A-M-B-L-I-N-G. It describes the act of talking for a long time in a confused way without a clear direction, structure, or main point.
Say it slowly with us. Ram-bling.
Ram-bling.
I talk too much when I am nervous is a basic sentence that everyone uses.
But I have a bad habit of rambling when I feel stressed during an interview is an advanced, self-aware B2 sentence.
Let's make it real with a mini conversation.
Jack, your answer to that last behavioral question was almost 6 minutes long.
I know. I lost my train of thought and started rambling. I really need to stick to the STAR method next time.
Perfect context. So instead of saying, I was talking without a point, use the word rambling.
Word number 4 is incredibly important if you are interviewing for a management or leadership role. Delegate.
Delegate. D-E-L-E-G-A-T-E. It is a verb that means to give a part of your work, power, or authority to someone else, usually someone in a lower position or on your team.
Say it slowly with us. Del-A-gate.
Del-A-gate.
We used this earlier as an example of a good, honest weakness. I sometimes struggle to delegate tasks to my team because I like to control the quality.
A basic sentence is, I need to give my work to other people.
A highly professional sentence is, a successful leader knows how to delegate responsibilities effectively to avoid burnout.
Let's do a mini conversation.
Michelle, why are you still at the office working until 9 p.m. every night?
Because I try to do everything myself. I really need to learn how to delegate to my junior staff.
That is a great natural use of the word. Our fifth word is a powerful noun, flaw.
Flaw. F-L-A-W. It means a mark, fault, or imperfection. It can be a weakness in someone's character or a structural mistake in a plan.
Say it slowly with us. Flaw.
Flaw.
Saying, I have a weakness is okay, but it's very common.
Saying admitting a professional flaw shows that you are honest is much stronger and more precise.
Mini conversation time.
What did you think of the marketing team's business proposal, Jack?
It looks visually good, but there is a major flaw in the financial section. The budget numbers simply don't add up.
Great example. Instead of mistake or weakness, use flaw to sound sharp and analytical.
And our final concept for today's word tour is an adjective that every hiring manager loves. Self-aware.
Self-aware. S-E-L-F-A-W-A-R-E. It describes someone who has conscious, honest knowledge of their own character, feelings, strengths, and weaknesses.
Say it slowly with us. Self-aware.
Self-aware.
If you know your strengths and you openly admit your flaws, you are a self-aware person.
She knows herself very well is a basic description.
Employers value candidates who are highly self-aware is advanced corporate English.
Let's make it a mini conversation.
Why did you hire him, Michelle? He didn't have all the advanced technical skills we asked for in the job description.
Because he was incredibly self-aware during the interview. He knew exactly what he needed to learn, and he showed me he was ready to put in the work to do it.
That is the ultimate compliment in the professional world.
So today's 6 powerful master English words are interrogation, recite, rambling, delegate, flaw, and self-aware.
Use these words to elevate your vocabulary. They prove that you are not just memorizing English, but that you understand professional nuances.
And now, Jack, it's time to put everything we learned into practice. Are you ready for the final role play?
I am ready. My posture is good, my mindset is that we are equals, and I am going to use the present, past, future formula, the STAR method, and a power question to close.
I will be the hiring manager at a fast-growing tech company. We are in my office. Action.
Good morning. It is a real pleasure to meet you. Thank you for having me today.
Good morning, Jack. Thanks for coming in. I have your resume here, but let's start simple. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Certainly. Currently, I am a team lead at Horizon Logistics, where I manage a group of 5 analysts and oversee daily operations. Before that, I spent 3 years as a data coordinator, which is where I really learned how to optimize complex supply chains. And now, I am looking to bring my leadership and analytical skills to a fast-growing, innovative tech company like yours.
Very clear. Thank you. We definitely need problem solvers here. Can you tell me about a time you had a significant conflict at work and how you handled it?
Of course. Last year, my department and the sales team strongly disagreed on a project deadline. We needed to launch by Friday, but they needed more time for client outreach. Instead of arguing over email, I scheduled a quick one-on-one meeting with the sales director to understand their specific delays. I then adjusted our team's internal schedule to give them 2 extra days without missing the final client deadline. As a result, both teams felt respected, and the client loved the final product.
Excellent. I really appreciate how proactive you were in handling that. Well, Jack, we are almost out of time. Do you have any questions for me about the role or the company?
Yes, I do actually. What would you say is the biggest challenge the person in this role will face in their first 90 days?
Oh, that is a great question. Well, our biggest challenge right now is integrating the old database with the new software system, so we need someone who isn't afraid to dive into the technical details.
And cut! Wow, Michelle, that felt entirely different from my pizza story.
How did it feel in your body, Jack? Were your hands shaking?
Not at all. It didn't feel like an interrogation. I didn't feel like I was reciting a script or begging for a job. It felt like a real productive conversation between 2 professionals.
That is because you were prepared with a structure. You didn't ramble. You controlled the narrative from the very first question.
It is so liberating to have a map. I feel like I could actually enjoy going to a job interview now.
That is the ultimate goal. To our listeners, an interview is just a meeting. You have incredible value to offer. Be honest about your flaws, highlight your actions, and always remember to ask strong questions at the end.
Yes, you are bilingual professionals. Do not let the fear of imperfect English hold back your career.
We want to challenge you this week. Take out your notebook or open the comment section right now and write your present, past, future introduction.
Yes, practice typing it out. We read the comments, and writing it down is the first step to memorizing the structure.
And if this episode helped you prepare for your next big career move or just made you feel more confident, please leave a like and subscribe to the English Flow podcast.
It helps us reach more learners all over the world who want to master real English.
Take care of your English and take care of your career.
This is Michelle.
And this is Jack. See you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.